So welcome all of you, and today we'll be discussing 8th chapter, verse 6th. We just chanted the shloka. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantente kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So this verse is a very powerful verse, and it is one of the quintessential verse of change. So this whole verse talks about change, how to bring about the change. It says, whatever state of being we leave our body, the same kind of conscious, same kind of person we would become in our next lifetime. So basically, it is talking about two levels of creation. It is talking about two levels of creation. Technically, two levels of creation. And what do I mean when I say two levels of creation? Two levels of creation means anything before it comes in the physical state, anything before it comes in a physical world, first it develops on the subtle world, first it develops on the thought level, first it develops on a more vibrational energetic level. For example, if we want to construct any house, if we want to construct any building, so to be able to construct the building, we first need a person who wants to live in the building, and that person have a specific requirement. Oh, I want 4 rooms, I want 3 rooms, I want this room to be that big, I want a bigger living space, I want a less big living space. Based upon his requirement, based upon what do he want, he would tell all his ideas to architect. An architect will make a blueprint, make a design, make a map, make a architectural design for that particular thought what the owner had in the mind, and then city will approve it, and then it will go in the construction. And let's say if you don't do that process, and if the owner is dynamically deciding once the construction has started, so what do you think, will that construction get over anytime soon, or how much money would it be efficient, and how much more money would it cost for that person to actually build that house? It would take a lot of time. It would take a lot of money, almost double and triple the cost. It would bring a lot of frustration. It won't be that easy, isn't it? So, unless a person is creating a home in his mind first, till that point of time, the efficiency of bringing that into physical reality is very minimal. Efficiency would be very low. That is one aspect, that the first level of creation happened in the mind of a person. The second level of creation is happening on the physical reality, right? So this principle holds true for everything. It even holds true, even a small thing. Let's say I want to travel from my place to where? The map, the GPS would guide you based upon what is your end destination, what is where do you want to achieve, where do you want to go. So before actually you traverse the road, before actually you ride in a car and go through different twists and turns and different turnpike and different highways, the same particular route would be mapped in your phone in GPS. Exact route. The creation is already there, the creation of my movement, but even before that, the first level of creation has happened in my phone, isn't it? So unless that first level of creation happens and you don't put the end goal, you won't be able to achieve, you won't be able to travel, and even though travel you will be making a lot of costly mistakes, missing a lot of turns, and ending up spending more and reaching late, isn't it? So so to be able to efficiently effectively live in this world, we need to understand what is my last destination, where do you want to achieve, where do I want to go. In travel, you want to travel, if you go to any tourist, and he will say, okay, where do you want to go? Based upon that, he will develop your itinerary, right? So anything which you want to experience in the life, it all begins with the end. It all begins with the last point in your mind. And that is what essentially Krishna is trying to tell here. What is Krishna is telling? That when we, okay, fine, let us even extrapolate that into little more macro version. So we just discussed about day-to-day micro affairs of our life. If we were to extend same concept to the macro aspect of my life, I mean the life itself, if we take the life's journey, because life is also a journey wherein the moment we take birth, we've started our journey, and we're moving, we're growing, and we are going through different phases of our life. And Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, this body is like a car, and I am the driver seated in this car as a spiritual being having this car, human car experience. Some people, some species, some spiritual being having a bird experience, some spiritual being having a cow experience, some spiritual being having a lion experience. So we are all essentially spiritual beings having different types of experiences. So, and in this experience, that is a journey. It's a human journey, human experience. And this human experience is because of the journey I have started at the beginning of my life. So now it is journey started at one point of time, and let's say I'm not aware what is my last destination, and many of us are not. If I ask all of you, imagine you're traveling in a car, you're traveling in a train, and there is one person who was sitting next to you, and you ask this person, my dear friend, he just wanted to strike a conversation, just to get to know each other, and just have some talk and do some bit of a networking also there. Okay, my dear sir, where are you going? Like, where did you board the train? I'm just curious, where are you coming from? He just snapped at you. I don't know. It's irritating. Anyways, he just kind of came very impulsively. He don't know where he bought it from. And then you ask, okay, my dear sir, where are you traveling? Where are you going? He said, I don't know. So if you meet such a person who don't know where he bought it from and who don't know where is he traveling to, what would you think about that person in your mind? I would like to hear your thoughts in the chat section. What would you think about that person who's traveling as a co-passenger? He don't know where he bought it from, and he don't know where is he going. You would think maybe insane person, like little crazy person. He don't know where he bought it and where is he going. Similarly, if I ask you, in this human journey, where did you come from and where are we going? Where are we going? What is my last destination? And unless I know my last destination, I will not be able to live my life purposefully. I will not be able to create values what I want to create. I will not be able to live up to the my own aligned nature. So it is not really doing things, it is not like doing things right. It is about doing right things. Which is important according to all of you? Doing things right or doing right things? Some people get stuck of doing things right. Oh, I'm doing things right. Let me continue doing it. No, it's about doing right things. And doing right thing means what is my destination. If I don't know the end result, if I don't know where I'm headed toward, if I don't know what's the purpose of me having this experience itself, what's the purpose of me traveling in this so much of sophisticated car of this human body and having a different life experiences, what is the meaning of all of that in my life? It is just as good as a co-passenger who don't know where is he bought it from and where is he going. There's no difference in that. So that is a mass insanity, that is a insanity at universal level, which has been spread all across, and we really do not know what's the purpose of my life, where I'm headed toward, and how I'm supposed to be leading my life in such a way that I can understand what's happening with me. So, very interestingly, there was a experiment, I would say exercise was being performed, and this concluded with a very interesting paradox. That's a very interesting paradox, and that is known as death paradox. What it is known as? It is known as death paradox. The death paradox says the more you're aware that ultimately all of us are going to die, ultimately at one point of time, the way we have attended so many funeral, and we have read and we have spoken highly and greatly about those people who have passed away, on one particular occasion, on one particular time in place, even people would be coming to attend my funeral. There'll be so many people, relatives will be coming to attend my last day, the last rituals. So what I want them to what I want them to remember about me, what I want them to think about me, what I want them to, what kind of person I was. Was I living a aligned, purposeful life? Or was I just spending time for no reason and just trying to do things right? Isn't it? So it's a very harsh reality that all of us have to experience this particular occasion one point of time or another. It may seem pessimism, it may seem uh, kind of a sad and kind of a gloomy kind of experiences, but it is a reality, and it is a reality which nobody can deny and nobody wants to accept. Death is a reality which nobody can deny and nobody is ready to accept, isn't it? And the more we become aware that that is my end goal, and what kind of legacy I want to leave, and what I really wants to, where I want to go next, what's my next part, like what's going to happen after it, on what basis it would be decided what kind of journey would be next. So the more people become aware that this time what I'm leading is not infinite, it is meant to end one day, and if it is meant to end one day, then there is a sense of urgency which has been created, and the urgency has been created to know why am I living this life at a first place, and what is going to happen after death, and what are the factors which is going to decide what kind of life I would have next. Because as a spiritual being, i'm eternally I'm eternally existing. The body keeps changing, but me as a person remains same. Like the way we have changed, we've been constantly changing our bodies. When I was 5-year-old, I look different. When I was 15-year-old, I look different. When I'm 30-year-old, look different. Somebody 70-year-old look different. If you make a mental collage and have a pictures of different age groups of your own picture, and put your own paint picture on that collage of different age groups, different at different age, then you would see the body is continuously changing, but me as a person is the same person who observed all these different types of bodies, and I remained observer in different times. So me as an experiencer is same, as an observer is same. I am the one who experienced and were aware of this kind of situation, what was happening in my life then. So similarly, if the body is continuously changing and I remain same, so what is a big thing if the at the time of death the body changes completely and you remain same? So what is going to be my next journey? What decides it? Isn't it a fascinating question? What is going to decide at what kind of body I am going to get next? And Krishna gives the clue to that answer in this particular verse. All of you have read the verse. What, how it has been decided? What principle operates at a certain level that what kind of life I'm going to have next? Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantente kalevaram tam tam eveti konteya sadatat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever kind of thought processes, whatever kind of perception, whatever kind of ideas, whatever kind of thinking you have while you are giving up this body, that thinking will become reality in your next lifetime. The way we started discussing, two levels of creation. What you create in your mind while you're giving up this body, the same kind of reality you will experience in the next lifetime. Two levels of creation. It all start in the mind. We just establish that fact. And when we have established this fact, we cannot deny. Okay, so whatever kind of life you're imagining in your mind when you're giving up this body, the same kind of life is going to become your reality. Isn't it fascinating, at the same time very scary? Because I'm not consciously choosing, I'm not consciously working what kind of thinking process I want to have, what kind of perception I want to have, what I want to remember at the time of giving up this body. And that's gonna decide what I'm gonna become next 100 years of my journey would be dependent on those crucial moments. So if we live our life remaining unconscious, so unconsciously we are building up our life. Unconsciously we are building up our thinking process. Unconsciously we are building up our perception. And if you leave it to unconscious, and unconscious will keep mirroring different people's what different people want. We have different types of social mirrors. What that person wants me to do, what this person wants me to do, what my parents wants me to do, what my society wants me to do, what my brother wants me to do. We are not leading our life, we are leading somebody else's life. Being, although I own this body, there is no, I'm not being in the command of my own life. So if we don't become conscious while we are living this, while we are living this life, so unconsciously we are creating a thought process. Because you cannot just at the last moment define, okay, on my entire life I lived in a certain way, but I will have some ability, I will have some control what I am thinking in the last life, in the last moment of my life. It is not under your control. It cannot be under your control, because the blueprint what you have created by working on that every day. Every day we work on the blueprint, and every day we are sketching our next life. Like architect would take 10, 15, 1 month, 2 months in creating a sketch, isn't it? Nowadays is much faster, but at least in the mind, how the different houses would come, how the different rooms would come. So that process is going on, is a continuous process. So building block of what I would be remembering at the last moment of my life is everyday activities. Every action, everyday thought processes, every day whatever you do in your life are creating building block of your life, of your thinking process, of your perception of that first level of creation in the mind before you give up this body. The same kind of person you're going to become next lifetime. Now, what life you have created now is a life which you had created. The first creation happened in the previous lifetime. The first level of creation of this lifetime has happened in the previous lifetime, which you don't have any control over. But now, if we become conscious, if we shine light in our consciousness, then we can define what kind of life I want to have next. It could be very conscious. And if you leave it to unconscious, if you just remain in a darkness and don't understand what's going on in the life, where am I going, what's the purpose of life, why am I existing, why all these different star existing, what's my purpose in the universe, who made me, what are why things are happening the way it should not be happening according to me. If we don't look for the unanswered questions, I'm just giving up my charge to unconscious. Beautiful saying goes, if you don't make unconscious into conscious, it will continue to direct your life, and you will call it as a fate. If we don't consciously lead our life, if we consciously don't lead our life, then it will just be left to unconscious and I would be completely lost. And then you would say, why this is happening to me? Why this? Why that? We're expert in blaming. Let's say now in this lifetime, oh, why this is happening to me? Why am I not so intelligent? Why I'm not born in a very rich family? Why I'm not so wealthy? Why I'm not very strong? Why I'm not so famous? Now I'm saying a lot of whys, right? But I have decided I'm the one who's responsible because I'm the one who's decided in the previous lifetime. The same thing I'm going to decide in the next lifetime. It is me who's responsible. So it is a great responsibility of all of us to understand that why what I'm creating for myself and how I'm creating for myself. And ultimately, the best thing what Krishna explained in the previous verses, if you think of me, if you think of the highest purpose, if you think of the highest goal, if you think of the if you think of my lotus feet, then you're going to come to me. And once you come to me, that's perfection. That's a pinnacle of life. And there's nothing beyond than that. The highest perfection of human form of life is to be able to cut yourself from this chain of birth, old age, disease, and death, and just exit from this continuous cycle and go back to Krishna. And that is possible only when you remember Krishna in the last moment of your life. And it is not possible to think of Krishna in the last moment of your life if you're not making its building block every day. Every day we get to build building block of our Krishna consciousness. And then when the Krishna consciousness becomes mature, if in your consciousness it is only Krishna, then you will go to Krishna after this lifetime. So that is a beauty of this particular verse, wherein by meditating on my death, I can truly fulfill the purpose of my life. And that is death paradox. And if we don't know what is my end goal, then we would be just leading our life very meaninglessly, purposelessly, with no objective, with no goal, with no value system. It would be just your energy would be spilled out in a way which you don't desire. And that would be so sorry to at the end of this life to hear that such a great valuable human form of life I have got. I could have trained myself. There's a saying which says the highest value of life is to make your life of to become what you really are. The highest perfection of life is to become what you really are. The highest perfection of life is not to achieve something. The highest perfection of life is not to gain something. The highest perfection of life is not to have so many followers, so much of wealth, so much of legacy. No. The highest purpose of life is to become what you really are. If you can uncover, discover, and bring out your own true self, that is a perfection of life. Because that is going to create the perfect life in the next lifetime. So that is what we can understand from this particular verse. Let us again reread what Krishna is saying, and then we'll open it for discussion and for any questions anybody might have had. I'll chant this sloka. Yam yam vapi simran bhavam tajantente kalevaram tam tam eveti konteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Translation: whatever is state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will achieve, attain without fail. So we'll stop here. Anybody, we're just opening it for discussion. Anybody would like to share their realization, any comment, any question, you're welcome to do that. I received a question from Chaitanya. Why next life? How to make it happen this life? Yeah, this life we are making preparation. for the next lifetime, because we are limited in this lifetime in a certain way. And actually you can really create in this time lifetime also, but that depends what you want to create. And by unleashing our potential, by unleashing our human potential, by unleashing our power, we can, if we truly become who we are in this lifetime itself, then we can make it happen in this lifetime itself. It depends on the intensity, it depends on the purpose, the the desire, it depends on the intensity of your purpose, burning desire and intensity of purpose.
So, Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes, yes, please go ahead, Chaitanya. Yes.
Yeah. So I read a quote. I don't know who, but I remember like this. So, you don't need to think about like I need to have this, that, and all, right? It's this is all your mind game. You need to stop it. Stop. You need to stop your thoughts and face the thoughts like uh, it's not going to impact you, something like that. So no fear, no uh, nothing, no attachment, something like that. And you'll find a way, and nature will take care of things what you have to come to you. And you know um, something like that lines. What do you say about this kind of philosophy?
Basically, what you're saying is don't think about anything. It's everything is clear, and you just have to stop thinking. You just have to find your purpose and just go for it, and you will achieve it. Right? That's what you're saying.
You don't even need to find your purpose.
Yeah, don't even have to find your purpose. You just live the way it is, and everything should be fine. And just stop worrying, stop thinking. Just be wherever you are, and just enjoy life like this. Is that the thing?
Yeah, something like that it was mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, two things. First thing is that to be able to stop thinking is not a small thing. You cannot just not stop thinking. You
Hmm.
cannot just not stop desiring. You cannot just not stop creating problem for yourself, because that's the nature of the mind, and we always have the mind. You cannot say, oh, I have a small child but he will not disturb me. A small child is meant to be disturbing because they are very curious, they're exploring life, they're just all out, and the more they grow, the more their curiosity expands, the more you try to shut them down. You can borrow power from your authority to shut them down, but the more you try to shut them down, the more in the future they are going to show you the ugly faces. Although they may submit themselves to you, but after some time they're going to show ugly faces. Similarly, we may force our mind to shut up, stop thinking. We may forcefully shut down our mind, like the way we can shut down a small child. But the way small child will show ugly faces later on and disturb your become the greatest demon in your life. Similarly, more we try to shut the mind up without properly understanding the working of mind, repress the emotions, the more difficult life is going to become later on. Because it's not that easy. Whenever somebody says, okay, just keep your mind without any thoughts and don't really take care about it, and just everything will be fine, just like that. It's not a joke. It's not going to happen like this. And if you say, unless we have cleared the mind from all the contamination, our mind cannot stop thinking. Unless all the dirty thing has been pulled out, detoxification has happened, the purging of the different type of vasanas has happened. The mind is very powerful force. You can quieten the mind for some time forcefully, and it's not going to play out, in a higher sense. Same example. The example is, if a small child is very disturbing, if you forcefully make them shut, You can do it, but you can do it for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, again they are going to become create even more havoc. That is known as very less intelligent parenting. Less intelligent parenting is to keep the to suppress the energy of a child. It is a very less qualified, intelligent kind of a parenting. Low class parenting. What is high class parenting? Instead of suppressing the child, redirect the energy of a child. Engage intelligently energy of a child in such a way that it is been invested in something positive. Similarly, forcefully you can try to shut the mind off, but unless you find a higher means of diverting your energy for a higher cause, for a purpose, you can do it, but you can do it only for small time. Like a small child can be shut out, can be shot out, can be forcefully made sit in a one place, but only to he will be just be preparing how to create even more chaos when she start exploding. In those silence moment, the child will be creating what next naughtiest activity I'm going to do and disturb my father even more. Similarly, if we try to shut the mind off forcefully and just numb it and just don't want to feel it and just try to become like a tree, then what is going to happen? It is going to come back even more forcefully and gonna devour your life. It's not that easy play the way we think it to be. So the higher kind of parenting is the higher kind of parenting of our own mind is to find a purpose and to know what is the real purpose and to channelize energized all the energy of a child of the mind toward that highest goal of my life. That is what Krishna is recommending in the sixth chapter also in the Bhagavad Gita. Make sense to you, Chaitanya?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think my next question would be, how do we decide the goal? But I think I'll put some thoughts and I'll come back with question in a good way. Like how to find the highest purpose.
Yeah, how to find the highest purpose.
Uh, I wanted to think about it and come back, but
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss and how to find highest purpose that Krishna has already spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. The highest purpose I just explained, the highest purpose of life is to discover who you really are. The highest purpose of life is to understand who you really are and remove all the layers of ignorance and to discover your own true wealth which is hidden in the heart and develop your abilities to be able to remain connected to your own self. That's the highest purpose of life, and to be able to connect to the source of self in the spirit of devotion. There are two purposes of life. Self, when me as a self turn toward myself in the spirit of self discovery, that is first level of goal. The second level of goal is when the spirit turns towards supreme spirit in the spirit of devotion, that is second level of goal. So finding yourself and finding your source is the highest purpose of life, what Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. So we have Pulvi ji asking a question. Every day should be a fixed goal or purpose of life. What's your opinion? So basically, there are two things. One thing is that the purpose of life is very clear to discover myself. So every day, a part of my life should be dedicated to keep strengthening the muscles of fulfilling my purpose, of strengthening the values which are required to fulfill my purpose of life. A part of me has to go energizing my true purpose and feeding it and developing those values which are important for me to develop my purpose, like meditation, like reading Bhagavad Gita, like learning more about Krishna, like learning more about yourself. That is what the purpose of life. And apart from that, your day-to-day activities. I mean, you need to take care of your body, you need to take care of your situation, like job and the relationship and all the different dynamics of life. They also need to be taken care of. They also like secondary purposes, primary purpose and secondary purpose. The primary purpose is to discover myself. The secondary purpose is to maintain myself, to be able to discover myself. Because ultimately the soul is in the body, and body also need to be maintained. And for maintaining the body, we need to do a lot of functions like finding a job, studying, and like doing my work and maintaining relationship. That's important to maintain the body. That's important to make a living. But making a living should not become a life itself. Making a living is to support my life, but is not my life itself. So the answer to your question, Palviji, is that we should have our secondary goal and primary goal. Primary goal is toward my primary purpose, and secondary goal is toward my taking care of the body and taking care of my healthy financial relationship and social situations. I hope that is clear for you. If you still have any doubt, maybe we can discuss more about it.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
So anybody else have any other doubts here? Lakshmiji, welcome. Hare Krishna. We just are about to wind up the session today.
Namaste, Prabhuji. I have a